On this Minecraft seed, every time you kill a wither skeleton, a wither skull drops. On this seed, you'll get 4 nautilus shells the first 4 times you fish. This is due to an update that could worsen the game of Minecraft forever for a lot of players due to this one tiny change that is barely recognized so far in the latest pre-release. This is actually insane. So pay attention. We know that when you kill a blaze, 50% of the time a blaze rod drops. 50% of enderman deaths result in an ender pearl. 2.5% of wither skeletons will drop a skull. 0.5% of leaves drop apples. 10% of gravel drops flint. So here's the change. Loot tables are no longer the same in every world. They're randomized by a variable, random sequence. This is tied to the seed of your world. This means that the odds of getting mob drops or block drops is no longer set at a certain probability. Luck now varies by world. Now, obviously, this will cause immense chaos in Minecraft. It's a horrible change. Imagine you just started your world and you spent hours in it only to find that you put in all the work to get fully enchanted armor, and then it's nearly impossible to get blaze rods. Or what if the odds of getting an ender pearl are very low from endermen and low from piglin trades? So before we freak out over this, though, we got to test this in several worlds to see if it's actually true. And that is the reason I'm breaking all this gravel. We have to first establish a rule for this study. We will assume for now that we can expect all loot tables to give us drops that they would in previous versions. We assume that luck is not random and nothing has changed. This means I will, for now, expect to get 1 flint dropped out of every 10 gravel I break, the usual 10%. I experimented on 2 worlds as a screen. These are the seeds for the worlds, and therefore the ID of random sequence. On this first world, I broke 1,605 gravel. Out of those, 154 dropped flint. When trying to get flint, that means we had a success rate of 154 out of 1,605, which is 9.6%, which is a little bit less than expected of that 10%. Now, in probability, the more trials you perform, the closer you get to the expected amount of successes. The more gravel I break, the closer I should get to that 10%. Using this thing called the binomial probability calculator, I found the odds of us getting 9.6% flint when we expect to get 10% is reasonable. We got lower than the expected amount of flint, but not by enough for any concern. The odds of this happening is about 71.74%, which means the odds that we had as poor of luck as we did, which by the way wasn't that poor at 9.6% anyways, was 29%. It's very believable odds. Then I did this in the second world and got a rate of 151 out of 1,274, which is a whopping 11.8% flint. Now, I know you're thinking, oh, but 11.8% is barely higher than 10, so this is more than believable. That's not true. I broke on this world 1,274 gravel. That is more than enough for the drop rate to be much closer than 10% than the massive 1.8% difference we got. This binomial probability calculator, the odds of getting that kind of luck is only 1.71%. And then those odds don't increase to 30% unless we increase our assumed drop rate to 11.5. But after all, 1.71 is about 1 in 65-ish. It's rare, but it's far from unbelievable. I found some evidence that the drop rate on this seed is not the expected, but it's believable. So, we gotta break more gravel to confirm. The odds of getting 12% gravel out of 4,032 gravel when we expect 10% is about 8 out of 1,000,000 tries. That's less than 1 out of every 100,000. So it's impossible at this point to believe that the seed gives us 10% on flint drop rates. Even if we assume that the drop rate's actually at 11%, this amount of flint has a less than 2% chance of dropping. After doing a few more calculations, I can say for absolute certainty that the change with random sequence is indeed a real thing, and we can say with about 93% certainty that the odds in this particular world of getting flint by breaking gravel is somewhere between 11 and 13% instead of 10. So what does this mean? Obviously, having drop rates go from 10% up to 12, varying by plus or minus 2%, is not a big deal. You'll probably never notice, hey, I'm getting a little less or a little more flint in this world if the difference is that small. But I only found this difference in drop rates on one of 2 worlds I tested. We know it's changed. We don't know by how much on average. I'll have to test more worlds to see how big of a deal this random sequence change really is and how much it will affect gameplay. I also have to test other things like apple, sapling drop rates, blaze rods, chest loot, piglin trading, I guess. List goes on and on. So let me know if you found the first part of this experiment interesting by liking the video, and if you did, I'll continue it soon.